Hey guys, Adrian here. Optimize Joy. You see I made a daisy chain today. It's actually, I think it's a clover chain, but I thought I'd wear it. It's kind of fun, you know, put flowers on your head for no particular reason. So, anyway, all right. Whew, today had some conversations. Wanted to throw this out there and just say, do you feel like an imposter? Do you feel like if people really knew you, they'd leave? Do you feel like nobody really gets me, and if they knew some of these choices that I had made, or if they knew that I feel constantly like I'm not really sure what I'm doing, do you feel like they'd leave? You know, like they'd see through you and feel like you can't be relied on? Do you feel like you can rely on you? You know, where's that coming from? Do you know where that's coming from and why it's there, when it happened? Is that something that you're currently aware of, or is that something you're currently working on? Or is it something that you are completely avoiding? It's you know, when those things come up, it's kind of easy sometimes to go, nope, I don't want to listen right now. I don't want to hear you. And we've got this habit in this world today where it's like, if I just collect enough light, if I just be grateful, if I just turn and look toward all of the great benefit out there, then this will just keep quiet back here. This feeling of being an imposter, this feeling of feeling like I have to hide, this feeling of knowing that I'm cheating. I'm cheating in life, I'm cheating others. I might even be actually cheating, whether it be financially, emotionally, or physically. You know, when that kind of feeling comes up, do you push it away? And just try to collect all the good, right? Because here's the thing, collecting good is absolutely fantastic. Like, it's actually where we have to start. You have to start with the collecting of the good. And then you got to take all of that collection and you got to take it into the dark side. You got to take it into the side of when you actually started abandoning yourself, your morals, your beliefs. You got to kind of take all of that light that you've collected and shine it on the dark. Because until you get both sides of you, like yin yang, think of a yin yang. Until you really get both sides of yourself where, okay, I have all of this light. And I in my podcast I was talking about the yin yang, and I'm going to talk about that actually just for a minute, because I really want you to actually picture it. Okay? Because it's not just there as, it's not like this symbol to pray to. It's actually there as a reminder of what your whole self is. All right? So let's talk about it really quick. You have, let me see if I can find it. I'll draw you a little picture. All right. You have the yin yang. This is not going to be a good picture. All right? My family, they're all artists. Me, not always so much. Okay, but you have this yin yang. I'm coloring right now, sorry. I'm trying to do it really fast because I don't want to take up all your all's time. But you have this, okay? That's the yin yang. And you have this fish up here, which I call the light fish. And then you have the dark fish down here. Now, if you didn't have the dots, let's just say you didn't have the dots, then you would have light and you would have dark. This light is ego. Okay, all of the light up here is ego. If you had ego without that little dark dot, you would just be egocentrical. Like it would just be like, I'm great, I'm fabulous, I'm this, I'm that. Like, right? So collecting a whole lot of light is absolutely fabulous and needed. And at the same time, if you collect so much light and you don't have this little piece of dark here, then it's all ego. It's just about how good and brilliant you are. This little piece of dark is what I like to call toxic pain. Toxic pain. Once you have some toxic pain, and usually your toxic pain is the feeling of I'm not enough, or nobody likes me, or you have that kind of like inner dialogue, right? When you can actually have some of that toxic pain, it turns this whole light fish compassionate. You have now compassionate light. Compassionate light. So that makes the light whole in itself. Down here, you have shame. And in your shame, then there's this little dot, right? And if you had shame and it had no little dot down here, then that would be basically almost like suicidal. You hate yourself, you think you're not worth anything, you probably shouldn't even be here, you're not good for anybody, right? But this little dot right here, the white dot, is forgiveness. And when you can actually take all of this shame and add forgiveness to it, then this now becomes wisdom. So the dark dot and the white fish equal compassion. And then the dark fish and the light dot equal wisdom. And until you have really explored all of that, until you've really gone into this shame down here, the time when you've abandoned yourself, the time when you've chosen to do something and you knew it wasn't right. Not even right in the world. It wasn't right for you. When you made decisions where they were manipulative or they were just gaining something to try to increase this light, right? To make you feel good real quick. Then that's where the shame starts building up. So the reason why I draw this is because I really want you to think about your life and whether or not you're living it, what I say, whole out. I know that there's full out, but I want you to live it not only full out, but whole out. I want you feeling all of you, all of that shame with the forgiveness that is wisdom, and all of that ego with the pain that is compassion. And when you can put compassion and wisdom together in here, it just explodes and it becomes fantastic. It's actually literally amazing. It's beautiful and freeing. And so my question to you is, in this feeling of that you're an imposter, right? That if people really knew who you were, they'd probably leave. If you're in the middle of that, then you might just be kind of stepping into that shame cycle. You might also be avoiding that, really, because you don't want to look at it. And the looking at it is what really wakes us up to really who we are, what we've done, and who we're not, and what we'll become. So you got to be willing to kind of really go into all of that stuff. And there's a process. There's a process to going into all of that stuff. And the process usually, you know, even for me, who's been studying this stuff since 8th grade, can be years. I didn't start teaching it. I started in 8th grade and I didn't start teaching it until I was 20. So that's like 8 years of just studying it. You know, because what, 8th grade, you're 12, I think, or something. I think I was 12. I'm pretty sure I was 12. But anyway, you can either take the time spend 8 years studying that stuff. Or you can reach out and say, hey, you know about this stuff. Is there a faster way to get there? Because there is. Much faster. It's much faster. But you've got to be willing to go. You got to be willing to go and explore both sides of you, because that's when it starts really paying off. So you have to be willing to take that leap of going, I am about to explore and really get to know me on a whole nother level that maybe I wasn't prepared for, maybe I wasn't willing to see, maybe I'm covering up by collecting light. I'm doing all of this good stuff, so it's gonna fill me. But at the same time, you don't really feel fulfilled with it, because there's still something there maybe you haven't been paying attention to. Maybe you haven't been recognizing, or maybe you're not even paying attention to how you're really talking to yourself, which in those dark times, it can be, I'm really no good. Sometimes it can be that bad. Sometimes it can be, if people really knew, they'd leave. They'd leave. Because I'd want to leave. I know how they would be, because I'd want to. But the thing is that we all have it. We all have this darker side. And we cannot really grow. Once we've gone in there, it's like, you've seen those memes where it's like, maybe you were just planted so you can bloom. Well, you got to go into that plant. You got to go into that seed. And you got to process all that stuff. And you got to find out where it came from. And you got to find out why it's there. And then you got to have a process. You got to have a process in place to bloom. And not only to bloom, but to grow, and then to bushel, and then to produce fruit. There is a process, and there's a much, much faster way of getting there. But the thing that I want more than anything, whether you spend a long time doing it or a little time doing it, I don't want you to be there anymore. I want you to be able to go, you know what? I went into my depths. I went down here into this dark, dark place. And I found out so much. And not only am I able to bloom from finding that out, but I can now bushel and then produce. And when you start playing the game on that whole other level of actually bushel and produce fruit that you can pass and feed and then reseed for other people. When you start doing that, that's when life starts getting fun, because you've got this freedom of really going, yeah, I did all that stupid shit and I love it. I love it. And I love me. And what I learned from it, right? It made me wise. And not only am I wise down here, but I'm compassionate up here, right? And when you can start playing that way with your whole self, not just the light part, let's collect a lot of light. No, collect the light so you can use that as a flashlight to go into your dark. That's why you collect the light. But it doesn't just end with collecting the light. It's got to end with the whole you. And you just get to decide, at what point do you want to figure that out so that you can start playing from the whole self, from your whole self. Because it's a beautiful journey, and it doesn't have to take that long. It really doesn't. So anyway, that's it for today, and I've got another thing that I really want to talk to you about tomorrow that kind of has to do with all of this. So it kind of ties it up. So stay tuned tomorrow, and I will check back in with you guys. I love you guys. And if you want to go do something, voluntarily embarrassing today, go find some clovers and make yourself a daisy chain, and then wear it around all day for the fun of it. Because play needs to be had. Have a great day. Reach out to me if you've got questions about anything that I've said today. Reach out to me. So I'll talk to you guys later. I love you all. Bye.